Coming up on Hoosier Sports Night, IU football took on one of the top teams in the nation in front of a sold-out crowd.
And the men and women's team continued their season with Big Ten play, taking on Rutgers and Michigan State over the weekend. Stay tuned to find out those results and more. This is Hoosier Sports Night.
Hello and welcome to Hoosier Sports Night. I'm Lao.
And I'm Kara Adams. We start tonight's show with IU football Tom Allen's Hoosiers, who took on 8th-ranked Cincinnati Bearcats, looking to build off their blowout of Idaho. Our Will Trubshaw and Ryan Scott have the latest from a sold-out Memorial Stadium.
Well, it started out as a promising day here at Memorial Stadium. The fans packed in 52,000 strong, and the Hoosiers got out to a 14-0 lead on the Cincinnati Bearcats. It all fell apart late in the second quarter. Will Trubshaw and Ryan Scott here, and a disappointing 38-24 loss for the Hoosiers at the hands of the Bearcats. And really, it all started with that play. Michael McFadden disqualified from the rest of the game after he's called for a targeting penalty.
We saw IU come out with a lot of momentum, taking the lead 14-0, but then in that second quarter, the linebacker Michael McFadden was ejected from the game, and IU had 4 straight punts.
Yeah, really things just fell apart, and you could tell there was displeasure on the side of Tom Allen and the Hoosiers with that call, but really their performance the whole game.
When you lose your captain and that kind of, that's tough. And it definitely, other guys got to step up though, and that to me is how you're going to respond when something like that happens. You know, hey, sometimes life's not fair. Sometimes things happen that they're completely unfair, and what are you going to do? How are you going to respond? And
there were some bright spots. You look at DJ Matthews, had a touchdown rushing and 120 yards receiving. Just a sensational game for him. Ryder Anderson played great on defense. Cam Jones played on defense. But there are a lot of miscues too. You know, Ty Freifogel, 1 catch for 13 yards. Not what you expect from the all Big Ten wide receiver. Mike Penix threw for 224 yards in this game, highest total for him this season. And 2 touchdowns to go with it. But 3 interceptions. There are a lot of holes, and DJ Matthews talked after the game just about the struggles overall for this team, and they need to be better.
Us as a team, we got to do a better job as ourselves. We got to look at the person in the mirror, you know, and ask ourselves, are we executing at a high standard? Are we playing at a high standard?
All right, so that does it for us here at Memorial Stadium. Indiana losing again 38-24. Their next game, they're on the road, and they will be for a few weeks. First up, it's WKU looking for another bounce-back win there against the mid-major program. Hopefully get the team back on track, but still, obviously a lot of things to sort through for the Hoosiers. For IUSTV Sports, Ryan Scott and Will Trubshaw. We'll see you next time.
The loss dropped IU to 1-2 on the season and 0-2 against ranked opponents. You can follow along with Will this weekend as he joins the Crimson Cast live show and watch party while Indiana takes on WKU.
And for more on this Saturday's upcoming matchup between the Hilltoppers and our Hoosiers, we're joined in the studio by the 3rd member of our football crew, Noah Harrison. Noah?
Thanks, Ta. After 2 weeks of battling here in Bloomington, the Hoosiers hit the road this weekend to play the Western Kentucky Hilltoppers. WKU holds a record of 1-1 on the season. Quarterback Bailey Zapp has led the Hilltoppers offense to the #1 spot in the country for passing yards and third down conversions. The graduate transfer received the Conference USA Offensive Co-Player of the Week after their game against Army. He threw 435 yards that game, 3 touchdowns, and 1 interception. On the other hand, the Hoosiers are also looking to pick up their second win after a disappointing loss to Cincinnati. Last weekend, IU came out hot on both sides of the ball, leading the Bearcats 14-0 until late in the second quarter. After that, the defense struggled to maintain their intensity, and the offense had a hard time getting into the end zone. In Monday's press conference, head coach Tom Allen said, "This week the team is focusing on consistency and eliminating mistakes." You can tune into this week's matchup at 8 p.m. Eastern on CBS. Don't forget to follow IUSTV Sports beat reporters Will Trubshaw, Ryan Scott, and myself on Twitter for live updates during the game. Ta, back to you.
Thanks, Noah. The men's soccer team looked to make a statement win in Big Ten play this past Friday as they hosted Rutgers at Bill Armstrong Stadium. IUSV's Emma Watson has more on how the Hoosiers conference play season opener went. Emma?
The Indiana men's soccer team fell to Rutgers 2-1 Friday night, suffering their second loss to the season and going into a 3-2-1 record. After a dominating first 30 minutes, which included a goal by Daniel Muni in the 23rd, IU was not able to combat Rutgers' response. In the second half, Rutgers scored in the 56th minute and then again in the 71st minute to take the lead. The reasoning for the defeat, Todd Yeagley said, was a lack of personality.
Tonight, I think the spirit piece is probably the biggest lesson. We have to play with more collective spirit than that, and that's a given.
IU will have a chance to come back on the road against Northwestern this Tuesday, a game that is crucial for IU to come back in the Big Ten Conference standings.
With regards to Northwestern, it's just go out and play, right? I mean, it's just as simple as that. Like, just get out and play and compete. And of course, we'll have some ideas of what we're trying to do against Northwestern, but that's going to be the emphasis.
IU falls to Rutgers Friday night 2-1. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Emma Watson.
Coach Yeagley's squad did manage to get their first Big Ten victory of the season the following Tuesday against Northwestern with a score of 2-1. The Hoosiers will look to continue their winning ways against the Spartans of Michigan State this Sunday to make up for the team's slow start on the season.
It was a tough weekend for the Indiana women's soccer team as they fell to 6-2-1 after losing to Michigan State this past Sunday. Myself and Emma Watson have the story. What had hoped to be a positive start to Big Ten play today, it was a tough afternoon for the Indiana Hoosiers, falling to Michigan State 1-0. Michigan State's Cameron Evans got the Spartans on the board at the 16th minute mark in the first half, and the Hoosiers were unable to get back on the board after that. Even with 17 shots on goal compared to Michigan State's 8, the Hoosiers were unable to convert any. The Hoosiers made a lot of uncharacteristic mistakes in the back that they hadn't before that allowed Michigan State to gain the advantage.
Result for us. I mean, the Big Ten is so competitive. I think today's a result that shows you the strength of it from top to bottom, and to go on the road and pick up 3 points here against a really quality Indiana side. It was great for our program, a great start to the Big Ten season for us.
Head coach Erwin Van Bennekom hopes the team will learn from this loss and rebound against Iowa on Thursday.
Probably the feeling of losing on our own field against Michigan State is probably what we're going to take away and hopefully use that as some fuel for the fire.
It was a tough reality check for the Hoosiers after winning their last 4 games and scoring 15 goals total from those games. The Hoosiers will look to get back on track this Thursday at 8 when they play Iowa at home. For IUS TV Sports, I'm Kara Adams. The team will be looking for its first Big Ten win of the season as they next defend their home turf against the Iowa Hawkeyes.
The Indiana field hockey team defeated Richmond 1-0 in a close one last Friday. Richmond came out strong the first half, making several shot attempts. However, the Hoosiers came ready to play in the second half, having a total of 14 penalty corners in the second half alone. Halfway through the fourth quarter, sophomore defender Sydney Keld scored with the assist from Yip Van Wonderen and Sofia Arabola Garcia. IU held the strong rest of the game, shutting the Spiders out. The Hoosiers field hockey team will be back in action Friday at noon against Maryland.
Coming up after the break, we find out who this week's Hoosier Highlight Athlete of the Week is.
And we take a look at what the volleyball and golf teams were up to over the past weekend. You're watching Hoosier Sports Night. Welcome back. It's now time to crown our IUSV Sports Athlete of the Week, aka our Hoosier Highlight.
Joining us in studio to do the honors is IUSTV sports reporter Gabe Fenster. Gabe?
Thanks, Kara and Ta. This week's IUSTV Sports Athlete of the Week is IU Field Hockey's own Sydney Keld. The Indiana field hockey team took on the Richmond Spiders on Sunday, September 19th. The Hoosiers came out with a 1-0 victory thanks to Sidney Keld, who scored the only goal during the match. The redshirt sophomore back from Middletown, Delaware, made 1 out of her 4 shot attempts during the match against the Spiders. Sidney Keld and the 5-3 IU field hockey team will look to use their home advantage to extend their winning streak to 2 games as they take on the 4-2 Maryland Terrapins this Friday, September 24th. Make sure to tune into Big Ten Network at noon to catch your Hoosier field hockey team in action this weekend. Kara, Ta, back to you.
Thanks, Gabe. This past weekend, the Indiana volleyball team hosted the Indiana Invitational. Our own Brianna Baylog and Josh Bodie have the scoop on the Hoosiers' first matches at Wilkinson Hall this season.
Indiana volleyball returned home for the first time in the 2021 season last weekend, going 1-2 with a win against Alabama A&M and losses against Chicago State and Ole Miss. Coach Steve Aird said that this was not the best performance that his team had this season, but they are looking to get a couple players back from injury.
Well, the tough part was we were down 2 of our 6 starters. So we had been out a starting opposite. Then we played 2 matches without a starting middle, and we had people step up and try to fill holes. But it's different. I mean, when you have a starting lineup that you've trained with and practiced with, that's the group.
Despite the losses Friday, all the sets were close. Also, the Hoosiers have been in a part of a lot of 5-set games so far this season. Coach Steve Aird talked about how to turn those close losses into close wins.
Got to make a play late in a game. I think we say that all the time in the huddle. Someone's got to make a play. And when you lose, whether it's 15-13 in the 5th or you lose 26-24, it's someone's got to make the play that gets you over the hump. It's consistency. It's being low error, and it's having faith in each other and making plays when you have to make plays.
We all know that IU's biggest rivalry is Purdue, and they meet here at Wilkinson Hall on Sunday. However, Coach Aird mentions that this isn't a rivalry as both the teams are in different places.
The rivalry thing to me doesn't exist until both programs are real good, and they are, and we're not there yet. And so, I'm hoping at some point during my tenure we can get to the point where, we win some matches and we put them in a tough spot. And we've been right there, especially a couple early in my career here. But they're trying to win a national championship. I'm trying to develop a program. We're in a different space right now.
The Hoosiers open Big Ten play at home with Michigan State on Friday and Purdue on Sunday. Follow along for updates at IUSTV Sports on Twitter. And for IUSTV Sports, alongside Josh Bodie, I'm Brianna Baylog.
The team opens up Big Ten play at home against Michigan State on Friday and Purdue on Sunday. Follow along with Josh and Brianna for all the updates.
This past week, the women's golf team competed in their second event of the season at the Badger Invitational up in Madison, Wisconsin. As a team, the Hoosiers finished in 10th with a total score of 921 after 54 holes. Freshman Anya Donegan posted Indiana's first round under par, leaving her team to a tie for 10th overall. Next up for the Hoosiers is the Courtney Cole Invitational in early October, which will be held at the Foul Course right here in Bloomington.
The men's golf team continued their successful start to the season with another strong performance. As a team, the Hoosiers finished 6th overall and were tied for the lead after a day in the Fighting Illini Invitational at Olympia Fields Country Club. Sophomore Drew Salyers put on another stellar performance. He shot 1 under par for the entire tournament, placing in a tie for 5th and earning his second top 10 finish of the year. The Hoosiers will travel back to our neighbor state to play next weekend at the Wyndon Memorial Classic in Glencoe, Illinois.
I'm Garrett Drake from IUSTV Sports, coming to you live from Terre Haute, where we have the McNichols Invitational going on with 13 colleges from across the country here. And so far the men's race just started, and we're going to have the women's race coming to you right after. Stay tuned for the action.
Both men's and women's cross-country teams ran in the John Mickles Invitational out in Terre Haute this past Saturday, September 18th. Both teams had some standout individuals in this early season contest. On the men's side, the top 3 finishers were Skylar Sternum, Jake Gebhardt, and Keelan Grant. Sternum finished 3rd in the men's race, leading the way for his squad. The women's top 3 finishers all finished within the top 10 in the 5K race. The Hoosiers' greatest finish was 7th from Michaela Ramirez. Quickly behind Ramirez were 9th and 10th place finishers Mariah Worley and Anna Barreau. Both Worley and Barreau are freshmen and made a strong statement from their position on the late season roster. When all said and done, both teams placed 2nd in the respective races, finishing just behind rival college Purdue both times. Now they will turn their attention towards South Bend as they prepare for the Joe Piani Invitational on October 1st.
It was an action-packed day at the course, and the Hoosiers put on a great show. This has been Garrett Drake for IU Student Television, signing off.
The Hoosiers' next meet will be in South Bend at the Joe Piani Invitational on Friday, October 1st. With the weekend quickly approaching, let's hand it over to our Candy Stripe calendar report with Kara Martin to see what's up next for all of our Hoosier athletics. Kara, what can Hoosier fans look forward to this week?
Thanks, Kara. I'm Kara Martin, and here's what's going on in Hoosier athletics this week. The women's soccer team will be at home tomorrow as they take on the Iowa Hawkeyes at 8 in the evening. The men's team will also look for success in the Big Ten as they head to East Lansing to take on the Spartans this Sunday at 3. Moving from the pitch to the court, the Hoosiers volleyball squad will host Michigan State as they open Big Ten play this Friday. Heading across state lines, the men's golf team will travel to Glencoe, Illinois for the Wyndon Memorial Classic, spanning across this Monday and Tuesday. Women's field hockey will look for the biggest win of the season as they face the 9th-ranked Maryland Terrapins at home on Friday at noon. And finally, your Hoosier football team will head down to Western Kentucky looking to redeem themselves after a tough loss to Cincinnati. That's all for the Candy Stripe calendar this week. Now back to you at the desk.
Thanks, Kara. And that's our show for the week. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Be sure to follow us on Twitter and Instagram at IUSTV Sports. For our production crew behind us, I'm Kara Adams.
And I'm Ta Lao. We'll see you next week.